You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Um, this is gonna be a very different Reza Riffs. Um, Alan won't be here. I feel like this is just one I had to do by myself. I'd like to say that this is an original idea, and it was, but unfortunately, or fortunately, my friend, Bob Saget, released a podcast to talk about this. I don't know when we'll get this up. I'm sending it to RJ after to record. But Bob Saget did a podcast about what just happened, and Norm MacDonald died. And Norm was my friend, and he was somebody who I loved. I loved him like a dad, comedy dad. And I don't really have a. Let me just get my phone because I want to play something that I think is important. But I don't really have a plan on this one. I've been very emotional, very, very hurt, and I've just spent the past. Norm died on Tuesday, and it's Friday. It's Thursday night, and I've been devastated. I've been crying. I've talked to comedians that knew him and were close with him that are also close with me, like Bob Saget, who, like it or not, he just got promoted to being my comedy uncle, and Jay Moore, and this whole thing hit me really bad by surprise. That's not true. It hit me bad by surprise, but I guess I knew it was coming. I have a million Norm stories, and I feel for fans of the show who've obviously listened to the interview with him, but if you haven't and you're a new listener of me, and that's great. I'll take it. But if you want to look it up, I interviewed Norm on Reza Riffs on Season 2, Episode 9. The air date was January 19th, 2016. And so you can listen to that interview. And we got that interview because Andy Dick was supposed to be the guest the night before, and he canceled. And I called Norm, and I said, Norm, Andy Dick canceled on me, and I know you're very selective on interviews, and I was wondering if you could do it for me. And he said I could do a phone interview for you. And I was friends with Norm for 10 years before I even asked him for an interview. A little Norm fact is, if you asked him for an interview, he would never say no. He'd always do it. If you asked like his management team, they might have said no. But if you asked Norm in person, and you knew Norm, he would always do it, and he would always help comics out or anyone out. There's a guy that Norm loved, who wrote for the Washington Post. His name was Edgar. I don't remember his last name, but he wrote some amazing articles about Norm. And Norm was always glad to do those. So, like, I think the difference between this podcast tribute than compared to Bob's, I think I'm just going to play a few things and just read my personal statement. Just help me get off my chest just a couple of my thoughts. Bob's was about 45 minutes. I'm hoping to keep this to 15 max. It's very hard for me to talk about. Norm was not only one of my best friends I've ever had, but he was like my dad. He was like my comedy dad. When I first started stand-up, I wanted to be like him. And I stalked him. I saw him live 100 times before I even became his friend. And he taught me everything I knew and know about comedy. And, as the years go by, people say that sometimes I sound like Norm when I'm on stage, and sometimes I just sound like him. And I think that when you know somebody for that long and you hang out with them and you tour with them, I think you pick up their mannerisms, and their characteristics, because a part of them is going on you. And I think that's not a bad thing. I think that's a beautiful thing. So what I want to do is I want to read the statement that I posted on Facebook. Now, if you're my friend on Facebook, you've probably already read it. And I'm not doing it to get likes or anything. I'm just doing it because I feel there's people who need to know what a great person Norm was, that maybe don't know who I am. And that's fine. But I feel like once they get a perspective of my love and my friendship from him, they'll get a more understanding for it. So how I started this was because there was a lot of RIPs and tributes, and I was so blank on how to respond, and I took my time, and it really did hurt. After I read this statement, I'm going to play a voicemail Norm left me. His last voicemail he left me that I didn't delete. Usually I delete my voicemails. I never delete my texts, but I always delete my voicemails. And I didn't delete this one. And he sent this voicemail to me in March. And then I'll play another one that I didn't delete. And he sent that one in June. I feel that I need to play these voicemails just so people can get an understanding of our relationship. And then I want to play the cameo I got him for Father's Day. And then I think I'll just wrap it up. And, like I said, I hope to keep this between 15-20 minutes, short and sweet. This isn't to get subscriptions or anything. This is just me venting. And if you listen to the podcast, I understand, it's not the same type of deal. But it's important to me. So if you listen all the way through, I thank you. I appreciate that. And I know Norm appreciates it too, knowing what I have to say. And for you to listen is just great. So, this is my statement that I posted on Facebook, and this is coming from me, his friend of 14 years, his opener for 6. I was one of the very few people who knew about the cancer. I have known for a while. That's what probably makes this so hard. And the funny thing is, Norm had a 15-minute cancer joke. I always questioned if he knew he had it when he wrote the joke, and I had to live with a secret I couldn't tell. I don't want to talk about how sad and devastated I am. The truth is, I am completely lost and heartbroken. This man was my comedy dad. We did shows together. We wrote together and hung out together. He mentored me and trained me. And I owe him everything. I owe him everything. Everything I am and everything I have, I owe to him. I found out Norm did have cancer around March or April. And when I found out, he told me in his joking ways that he FaceTimed me. I was like, Norm, are you in the hospital? He's like, yeah, man, I'm trying to beat this cancer. It's a terrible impression. I'm usually rock on impressions with him. I was like, you have cancer? He's like, yeah, but it's going away. That's why I'm in the hospital, man. Like, he was very joking and joyful about it. And, he told me not to tell anyone because he said he's fighting it. And, I talked to a very close friend of his after this whole happened, and, he told me that, Norm really felt he was going to beat it. And, maybe Norm lied to me about the seriousness of it to protect me. But I was one of the selected few that knew about it. And that kind of does hurt a little because I never talked to him about it because I guess he made it seem like I know cancer is a big deal and all, but I guess he made it seem like it wasn't as big of a deal because he was beating it. Or he made me believe that that's what was going on. And it's kind of like Breaking Bad, I guess, which was Norm's favorite TV show too. And, they're Walter B. Cancer. And I guess I thought that's like Norm was on that path. And I guess like that's how he made it seem, at least. Anyways, back to my statement. Norm had lots of openers, from Stevie Ray Fromsting to Sean O'Connor, to Jeremy McKernan, to Barry Sobel, to Fred Stoller. I was there for them all. He never fired me or let me go. He trained me harder and pushed me to be funnier than him. Out of the hundreds of shows I did with him, I can probably think of twice that I outshined him. I remember both of those times he said he could have easily done better than me, but he was tired of winning. Norm took comedy serious and as a sport. It was always about being funny no matter what, and he would play pranks and sometimes would go overboard. He always apologized if he knew you were hurt. I have been called by many as the second Norm MacDonald, but there'll never be a second. There'll always be a one and only. His influence on my humor and my career will always be part of me, will always be there. And I always hated being compared like that. It made me feel unoriginal because I am so similar to my hero. I sound like him at times and have similar mannerisms, but Norm just laughed. He had a different nickname for me. He always called me Reza Blade or K, and sometimes he called me Sean because me and Sean O'Connor looked very, very similar. But he always said I was a hidden gem in stand-up comedy and that he was proud that he discovered me. And I would call Norm on bad sets, good sets, and we would talk joke structure and respect towards comedians on bills. Uh, to my knowledge, he listened to every single Reza Riffs episode, and when I wrote him on his podcast, Norm MacDonald Live, only 2 of my jokes made the show, but he said they were all funny. And my favorite joke of his was called The Ostrich, and he promised he would do it on his next special for me. And after the shows we would do, he would write ostrich on a paper and tape it on the stool. And as he closed, he would used to say, "I have to tell a joke about an ostrich because Keith Reza is making me, and he's autistic." And it always got big laughs. I apologize if, like, the crying, I'm going to try and just not do it, but if I apologize. It made me laugh, and it also made me cry. Norm and I would talk about basketball, football, books, and movies. He loved John Cusack too, but he always said, "I'm not as gay as you." Norm was the first big name to do my podcast. He helped me get a couple guests like Bob Saget and TJ Miller. He helped me more than anyone ever, and he didn't make me feel like I was out of anyone's league. He told clubs to book me when they said no, and he put his name out there to help me. I remember the first day I met him at the Irvine Improv in 2007 in September. He gave me an autograph, which I still have. It says, "To Keith, don't do crack." He took a photo with me, and he told me he had so much to teach me about comedy. This can't be real, how the world's sweetest man is now gone. I feel for Dylan, who's his son. I feel bad for Lojo, his producing partner. I feel bad for everyone he has touched. He was the main reason why jokes exist, and he was the best friend a man can have. It says I'm crying. I'm crying now, but when I wrote this, I was just bawling. I'm crying because I lost someone who was like my fourth father. I had 2 dads, my pop, who was my grandfather, and Norm, and I have lost 2 of them. Pop and Norm have both passed. Norm was the best comedian of all time, and he was dangerous and daring and confident, and he was funny. Did everything he could to make anyone laugh, and when they didn't, he continued to do it and made it seem like the person who wasn't laughing was the issue. I once saw Norm do 4 hours, and after the show he said, I feel bad for the 10 o'clock show. And I was like, why? And he was like, because they have to wait another 4 hours. And he was just so funny. The man was so loving. It was the closest relationship I ever had. I lost one of my best friends, and people are asking me if I'll be okay. The answer is not right now, because the person who could make me laugh is gone. But I have to be okay because he gave me so much, and he taught me so much, and he loved me. And he begged people to, that's all he wanted to do, was to make people happy and laugh. I am sad because my friend is in a better place, and the comic god is now touring with the real god. And you could bet he's funnier. I love you, Norm. And then I posted a photo of the first day we met, September 2007 at the Irvine Improv. So I'm going to play 2 messages from Norm. He left this message March 19, 2001. We were going to go to Jersey Mike's and get bacon sandwiches. And the message is funny. And it really it's just more so I could hear his voice and so fans could hear his voice one more time. It's not really anything. So if fans of his are expecting a funny thing, I mean, it's just a message, a little 45-second message. It's nothing, but it is his voice, and when I listen to it, it makes me miss him more. So yeah, here it is.
Like $17, but hey, yeah, I met this woman. She's like, it's too expensive, but in the summertime, it's the greatest ever. Like $17, but she gets the turkey and avocado with bacon at Jersey Mike's. She can afford $17. It's like the greatest food ever ate. I don't eat bacon that much, but I'm not getting it without bacon. But my kid said it was just a little bit better than Subway, but I don't know. She said that it was amazing.
And we didn't eventually go out to Jersey Mike's. It just didn't happen. For some reason, I don't know why. It never happened. And then this message he left me June 7th. This is the last message that I ever got on my voicemail. I texted him. I obviously can't share text messages, but you could always read stuff in Norm's voice. And I interviewed Rick Overton, and Norm asked me to send it to him. And so this one's only about 15 seconds, but...
Hey, Keith. What's going on? I never got the Overton one. Give me a call, okay?
So, yeah. And then the last thing I do want to share is, I interviewed Mike Starr, on Reza Riffs, and Norm told me he was a huge Mike Starr fan. So for Father's Day, I bought him a cameo from Mike Starr, and I wanted to play that for you because I feel when you hear who's a god, I mean, Mike Starr is just beautiful man, but when you hear his message, I think you'll get a better understanding of my relationship with Norm. So here's the cameo from Mike Starr.
Hey Norm, this is Mike Starr. I hate to use that word fan that they use, LA big fan, but going back to way back, we met years ago. I don't know why I'm talking about myself so much, but I want to give a little preamble here, as that's the way I am. And going back to Brad Isaacs, tell me you gotta see Norm's sports show, among other things that you're just superb at. I want that sports show. I just love it so much. So, reason I'm doing this cameo, my good friend, soon to be a great friend, Keith Reza, has asked me, and I'm very humbled and honored, and I put it off. I'm saying, well, how am I going to say this? He has informed me and told me that you are just you're the father figure in comedy to him. So he wants to do a Father's Day message to you. Happy Comedy Dad Father's Day. So I'm humbled and honored that he's asked me, and hopefully this means something to you. One of these days we will work together, or just see each other, or just laugh together. You've given so many of us laughs over the years and everything else, and you are one of a kind and so unique and super talented, and everyone tells me what a great person you are, what a great guy. And that, everyone, everyone that knows knows you, tells me that, or knows about you. And Brad, if you remember, Brad was always telling me about you back in the day. And I always look forward to ever hearing anything you do. My friend Gary says, oh, wait, Norm MacDonald, you got to hear what Norm MacDonald said. And still one of the greatest sports shows ever, too, among other things, with all the other great work you've done. So if I've made any sense, I want to say to you from Keith, who is just, he's superhuman and very interesting guy, and he's asked me very interesting questions and it's touched me. He and I will be hooking up soon. He wanted me to let you know, I think I made that he said, tell Norm that you make him laugh, meaning me. Okay. Well, I've said that, and he's said so many kind things that you said about me, and he just wants me to say that you're great, and you mean so much to him, Keith, and a lot of people, as he has said. So I don't think I have anything funny to say. That would be a lot of pressure anyway. I just have a great image and a memory of you. We met. It was crazy. I think at a network thing that I was totally wrong for, and but I was glad to meet you, and I met some cool people. We all went there. We were all wrong for it, and it was quite a list. The two fellas with me, that was great, and I just remember your smile. That's it. And your aura and your spirit. And you're kind of so. Boy, am I getting. Well, yes, that happens. To people like me. We get like that. Hopefully, I was always like this. So the other stuff is just make believe. So this is me saying happy comedy dad Father's Day from Keith to you. I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm leaving. And probably my friend Captain Cranky, Professor Rock, says to me, sometimes when I tell these stories, it's like a long walk for a warm drink of water. So I hope there's some payoff. It did. It's coming from the heart and sincere, so I can say that at least. So I'm rambling, and that's what I do. I'm trying to think of anything else. He just wanted me to say how much you mean to him, and all your kindnesses and your help as a mentor to him means a lot to him. And Keith really respects you and looks up to you and means a lot. And I join him. I echo those words, as Norton used to say on the Honeymooners, I'd kind of say, Ralph, may I echo those words? And I feel the same way about you. And you're really, like I said, one of a kind, tremendous talent, and wonderful person from everything that I hear. And Keith, I hope this is good enough, because like I said on that Office episode, I said, if it's not right, you send it back. All right, so let me rub my eyes, and it's what I look like without the glasses. Yeah, thank you, Norm. And you are super. Keith, thank you for asking once again. Okay, now I'm going to get all new age on you. But I was always like this, by the way. God bless, all super blessings to you. Norm, keep on keeping on. And grateful and appreciate for everything you do, especially what it means to Keith and myself now. And keep on keeping on. All right. Continued great success to you, my friend. All the best. And once again, Keith, thanks for asking me. I hope I did okay. Like I said, honored, and I am humbled, as Ralph said one time. Well, I keep doing these honeymooner references. I guess I'm showing my age a bit, huh? All right. All the best. God bless. Thank you. And happy Comedy Dad Father's Day from Keith.
So that was what I got him for Father's Day. So Norm was a very special person to me, and he meant a lot to me. I would say he's, when you're a comedian, you have influences. Norm was definitely an influence, and to be able to work with him and be a friend to your hero, and to be like a son figure to him is just it was just amazing and beautiful. And I got so many Norm stories, and you know, I know Norm wouldn't want me to quit comedy, and he would want me to keep going. And a lot of people are saying that he left his legacy for me. Norm mentored other comedians too. So I mean, it's big shoes to fill, and I don't know if I'm the most talented one he's ever mentored, or trained, or whatever. But we had a very father-son relationship in comedy, and I don't know if I could do that. All I know is I can try my best on every show. I may never be a huge name, I may never be a star. And I don't want to live with that pressure of, hey, did I let Norm down? I can honestly say that, he loved my special. He said he was going to send it to Netflix, and then they would give me a special. I don't know if he did, but just saying what he said. And he listened to my podcast, and he believed in me. And regardless if I make it or not, I feel I've already made it, because the funniest person in the world guided me. A lot of comics don't have that. Norm told me the secret to comedy, and I can't share that secret, but he said when the time comes, pass it down to someone who deserves it. And the fact that he gave it to me it just meant a lot, Oh God. I apologize. I only wanted this to be 15 minutes. But I hope you guys know that this guy was very special. And hopefully if you listen to this to the end, you could see what kind of friendship he really meant to me. People say of his bad rep because he made a Down syndrome joke a couple years ago, and he got in trouble for. These people, they have to understand his opener, me, during that time, I have autism, and he never once made me feel uncomfortable, and he loved me, and he never judged me for having autism. He'd like maybe explain things in a certain way, and but he treated me like his own son, and he treated me good, and I loved him. I'm not saying like the entire friendship was pretty. We had some moments, we had some arguments, and but we always had a connection. And oh God, this is terrible. This is like the worst podcast ever. It's gonna get so many dislikes, and I apologize. Oh God. I just want everyone listening to know that he was an angel, and he was the most beautiful man, kind, spirit, and the funniest. And do yourself a favor and watch Dirty Work, watch Screwed, watch the Norm Show, watch Norm's panel on Letterman and Conan and Jay Leno, watch his comedy specials, read his book. and you'll see hints that he was giving us all. He was just an amazing guy, and I'm going to try my best to make him proud. And like I said, regardless if I make it or not, I can sleep at night knowing that I'm trying my best for not just him, but for me. And I think that's what he would have wanted, you know? He just wants me to make people laugh. And right now I'm probably making people cry, which is not what he wanted. But thank you guys for listening. And if you're close with anybody and you have a relationship with somebody that I had with Norm, call them and tell them you love them. I could honestly, and I'll leave this on this one, I could honestly say that Norm knew I loved him and I knew he loved me. And I could go to bed at night knowing he's in a better place, making everyone in heaven smile. So, all right, guys. So thank you. I had to vent, and I hope it touched you guys too. Have a good night.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on